Professionals suggest that from 2013, Cyprus has made important steps in protecting its economy and the professionals working on the island. Where do we stand today in your opinion?
Well, I have been in the island a couple of days and I'll be here till the end of the week, so I'm sure I have more to discover. But in the meetings that I have had so far with, the central bank, with some of the professional associations and with some of the private banks in Cyprus, I have found a passion and a commitment to the implementation of strict compliance and anti-money laundering policies, controls and procedures. And that commitment is similar to that which I'm seeing in other countries in Europe. So I know that for many institutions this is a work in progress, but I would say that all the indications are there that people are on the right path.
What sort of training and advice do you give to professionals these days?
Well, the regulatory landscape for AML is changing continuously. And as we all know, the crimes that we are looking to prevent and to detect and defend against are also changing and growing, and I'm sure we'll talk more about this. But we recommend wholeheartedly that individual professionals take their education very seriously, that they read and access resources made available to professionals on anti-money laundering and financial crime, that they study, that they maintain their professional development through attending professionally run programs. There are many, many available on the internet through webinars by respected organisations, including ACAMS. And we also recommend that people certify to underline their professional competence. The other thing that we recommend is that professionals talk to each other, sharing information, not confidential organisation-based information, but sharing information about best practice, case studies, practical examples of how somebody has implemented a particular EU Fourth Directive measure, for example, is invaluable. And particularly in an island or in a small institution where people aren't dealing with the large regulators who are issuing the enforcement penalties on a regular basis, accessing global information and networking with each other is extremely valuable and instructive.
Money laundering is unavoidably connected with international terrorism and therefore security of the international and national systems. Do you think that world organizations and governments are sufficiently dealing with this huge problem?
I think it's extremely high on all the regulatory bodies' agendas, equally high on the agendas of the commercial institutions. So financial crime is with us. It is global. The ways of dealing with and addressing financial crime are the same whether you're in Cyprus or the United States or Singapore or Fiji. And it's important that regulators and commercial organisations invest in, educating their workforces, look very closely at their policies and procedures in their compliance teams and also in information technology. So what I am seeing is considerable nervousness around, internet security and cybercrime, as well as the more traditional methods of anti-money laundering and fraud.
Mm-hmm. In terms of the challenge that you have to deal with today, which is the biggest one right now?
I think that's impossible to answer. I think it would depend on what the particular expertise was of the person that you were asking, but technology is an enabler for those who wish to do good and for those who wish to do bad. So that's clearly something that people are, regard as extremely important. I think that the role that educators have to play in helping institutions, whether government or commercial, is really in making sure that people stay abreast of the latest cases, the latest typologies, and are aware of what they can do to counter terrorist threats.
And you're here in Nicosia after partnership with EMF. And there is a specific purpose for this visit, and it's coming up this afternoon.
It is. So thank you. We have been invited here by ACAMS members. We have about 32,000 members globally, and our membership in Cyprus has now over 50. That membership has asked us to come here to create what we call a chapter. A chapter is a networking forum for professionals in the AML sector, and we will be holding an event this evening to celebrate the launch of that chapter. We have also, in response to the call in Cyprus for in-depth AML education with a global perspective and global experience, formed a partnership with a local financial services training company, the European Institute of Management and Finance, and agreed with them that they will deliver to professionals in Cyprus our gold standard CAMS qualification, the training for that, and it's the Certified Anti-Money Laundering Specialist qualification, which is recognised around the world by regulators as a very robust test and demonstration of a professional's capability. So again, this evening we'll be announcing that. We're expecting over 150 people. We're honoured that the central bank, Mr. Stelios Georgakis, and also CYSEC, Mr. Andreas Andreou, will give keynote speeches to our audience. We also have training running on Cyprus this afternoon. Mr. Simon Dillaway, who's been working with the United Nations, will be giving a training course on how to run an AML program. So there is a lot going on. I know you have other visitors here interested in the financial services sector, but today seems to be AML Day in Cyprus, and I hope that people will benefit from, the training that's being provided.